Howdy there, everybody. I'm going to do a little update here. I know it's been a while since I've posted an episode for anybody who's been listening. I'm not dead, I'm not gone, I'm not stopping this. It's just, it's been very difficult to record anything. For these, it takes a little bit more prep than anything else I do, but I haven't been able to do a whole lot. On my secular side, I've been doing some streams, but even then, I tried to stream today and couldn't. Sometimes it's just hard to focus. It's hard to get up. It's hard to talk. Um, my disability is disabling sometimes. Ain't that crazy how that works? And with the state of the world, it's hard to talk about it. It is difficult, and there is supposed to be an air of hope in this. Um, and that's sometimes hard to do. This isn't the only thing that's fallen to the wayside. I didn't just give up on this and then decide to do other things. I haven't been writing either. I have two other shows I haven't done. I've only been able to do the streaming thing just because, it's like it's a lot easier to do, but even that takes some uh or not some takes a lot of energy and I'm just not able to do it. That's why I don't have a consistent streaming schedule over on my other stuff. And I don't hide my secular content as I call it. I'm not hiding from that and this is supposed to be at least a weekly show and it hasn't been, and that's my fault. Um, but I just try to do it when I have the energy and when I can actually do a message, because this is important. I do see it as important. I see it as something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Also, if you notice that the audio quality is weird this time around, it's because I'm doing this on a headset. In the car, I have it hooked up to a laptop. Because it's currently like 3 in the morning right now. Because this is when I actually had the inspiration and the surge of energy to go do it. And you just never know when that's going to hit you. And I have it right now and figured, all right, let's get the laptop, let's get it working, let's set this up and do this. Not able to use all the other equipment and things that I have, due to it being pretty well. Since it's an RV, it's right next to the bed, and that would wake up Scarlet. I don't want to do that, but I should have another sermon coming up pretty soon after this episode is posted, which should be sometime today on August 4th, which is Monday, not Sunday. Yes, I know. I'm always missing dates, but I should be. And this is probably going to make some people mad, if I had to guess. Not that I've been shying away from making people mad, um, and I've definitely dealt with some very controversial topics. Though for people to be mad, people have to listen to it. But I have a feeling that if there's any episode that's going to get attention or that people might listen to or come across, it's not going to be any of the hopeful ones, the fun ones, or the interesting. Oh, let's deep dive and let's talk about where this comes from and all that. And actually, or let's talk about the joy of the Lord, the joy of religion, or the joy of the study in general. Um, it's going to be this next one, because this next one, I just had a sudden burst to write it. It's not very long. At least I don't think it's going to be very long. I mean, what I have written is not very long. As what's going to happen with the actual episode, I have no idea. But what I have written is not going to be very long. Though, despite that, I do think I'm going to have two parts to it. Because at least this first part, in its current form, is not uplifting. It is not hopeful. It has a very defined message. But this isn't going to make you feel good. This is not going to lift your spirits. It is angry. It is wrathful. And it's if anyone hears it, it's probably going to upset them, and it might upset them even if, I mean, I doubt that it's going to actually reach that audience. I mean, I doubt it's going to reach any audience, but I doubt that it's going to reach the audience that it's making a judgment against, because I don't think they're going to listen to this unless they just happen across it. Um, Because I mean, of the obvious one, I've talked about trans issues and gay issues and all this other people and how they're still children of God, should be accepted as such, and there's not even really any biblical evidence suggests that we should be against them, and yada, all that good stuff, and talked about and I've talked about trans Christians and gay Christians and Christians of all different sorts, and I've talked about some of the deep theological aspects and how we got a lot of things wrong, how we're taught a lot of things wrong, how there's stuff that we believe that's not in the Bible or really any old religious teaching. And I know, and I've been very anti-Christian nationalist, anti-white supremacy, anti-racism, so on and so forth, because it has no place in Christianity. It has used Christianity. It has used it as a weapon, and it's used it to maintain its power and its hate, and it just loves to subjugate people. And I've talked about that before, so I doubt, I mean, they won't like those episodes, but they really ain't gonna like this next one. But what I've also noticed is that when you just completely decide to let the wrath show, that even the people who would agree with what you're saying get upset because of purity culture. Now, I do understand that you shouldn't just be yelling and screaming the whole time. And there's a point. There's a reason for that, but they're just going to get upset because I'm upset. They're going to get upset because I'm showing that and claiming to be a man of God or a reverend. And they'll get upset by that because they don't think you're supposed to be upset, or unless you're. It's so weird because on the other side of this, if you're a white nationalist preacher, they love it when you get upset. They love it when you do things that are technically against um, their own codes and beliefs and decorum and all that. They love it. They absolutely love it. But on the other side, they hate it. And I think that's so stupid. That's why we can't get a lot done because of the purity tests and cultures that exist. Um, I just love it how the ones that are obsessed with purity culture, you would think they want to be pure. The ones that are saying that you can't believe this or that, or you have to do this and Bible beat and all that, they are so easy to throw it out the window for their preachers when they're saying something they agree with. Um, so easy to throw out the window when it comes to racism, sexism, misogyny, and so on and so forth. So easy to throw it out the window when it comes to protecting pedophiles. So easy to throw it out the window when it comes to just being evil and seeing the state of the world and how that just becomes more and more apparent and how these people keep winning. It's really, really, really hard to um, keep the faith in a sense. I'll never lose my faith in the Lord, but it's really hard to talk about it. Not because of shame, not because I'm scared, because I just don't have the energy. It's taking all of my energy to breathe. I don't have the energy to keep my eyes open. If I'm just sitting there hoping that God would just take me away. Not even because I want to die, I just don't want to exist because it's so hurtful to exist. It's so much pain, so much suffering. Not just because I'm not doing well in my situation, because the world isn't. And to see so many suffer and hurt, it hurts. It pains me to see that. It pains me more to see nobody doing anything about it. Especially when they have the power to do so, to make change, to do things, to help. Then they claim to be such great Christians and they will not even lift a finger to help those in need. But they'll fill that offering plate so their preacher can buy a new plane. They won't feed a starving child. That's just something I'll never understand. It's something I'll never get. Maybe I'm not meant to, for whatever reason, but that's just where we are. That's just where we are. But yeah, I should have another episode up at the same day. I'll probably post them back to back. But yeah, there'll be a second part because I'm going to write a second part that's a little bit more uplifting, that has mean, it bounces off the same message, but it's going to be a little bit different because if I just ended it with this, it's going to be very, um, even I don't like it. Because Christianity is a religion of hope. That's why it took off. That's why it's still so popular. Um, because you would think this religion that's so basically, when you look at the people who are using it to hurt so many, you think it would fall away. You think it'd be demonized. You think it would go away, and it doesn't. It hasn't, and it's because it's so hopeful and freeing, and there's so much good to it. The problem is that the ones who are the good parts either aren't strong enough to do anything or don't think that they're strong enough to do anything and are overridden by the bad parts, by the bad actors who just want to maintain their power structure, who just want to be hateful for fun. Um, but it is a religion of freedom, despite it being used to oppress, because people are really, really good at hurting people, and they're just using something that's popular to hurt someone, and that's what they've been doing with it for quite a long time. For quite a long time. It's not exclusive to Christianity, but it's definitely the most apparent in Christianity because of Christianity's size. But and that also makes it hard. Again, I'm not ashamed at all, but it makes it hard to talk because it's like, why am I doing this? Why do this? Why say these things that no one's hearing? Why continue to research? Why continue to study? Why continue to speak? Because God wants me to speak. But is it doing any good? Is it doing any good? And I do actually think that it is. Whether it does good now or does good in the future, whether it does good for millions of people or just one person, that's good enough if it's just one person hears it. And since it's recorded and put up, it can last for a very long time. So it may not do any good in my lifetime, but it may do a lot of good 100 years from now. Who knows? I mean, it wasn't Fitzgerald the author. Um, People didn't really like his books in his time, but then The Great Gatsby took off much later, and everyone talks about how great it is. And it's not just exclusive to fiction writers. That phenomenon can exist for so many. Um, I mean, Christianity definitely got a lot more popular after its quote unquote founders. Well, Jesus wasn't necessarily the founder of it. It's based around him, but it's not. He wasn't the founder. I would say the disciples and then Paul really solidifying it. But it definitely became a lot more popular after they were all dead because when they were alive, it was persecuted. When they were alive, there it was a minority religion, not the majority, and very small, and a bunch of different broken up sects that some lived in caves because that's just what they were and had all these different beliefs. There wasn't really a singular structure, and it was not. Though it was growing in popularity and people did like it, but it was not in any way, shape, form, or fashion the norm or the most popular. And they died, and 2,000 years later, it's the most popular religion in the world and of all time, despite many different legitimate reasons for it to not be, for people to not like it, to people to turn on it, especially all the horrible things that have been done in its name. People keep clinging to it, including people who have been hurt by it. They still cling to it because they understand that there's a difference from what the actual principles of the religion are and the people that claim to follow it and the people that claim to lead it. Um, they've always there's always been people who understood that and continue to worship despite being hurt by the very religion. But yeah, my thoughts are kind of all over the place here. Just want to do a quick update, let everybody know what was going on where I am. And especially since there was a natural disaster and that took a lot out of me. And if you can, do donate to the Red Cross. I don't know of any local charities. I looked into it. I don't know of any local Texas charities, but look into the Red Cross. Red Cross does amazing things with disaster relief, especially now that they're kind of the only ones doing it that FEMA has been it's just I don't know. It's so hard to talk about this country falling apart and just doing everything it can to not help its own people. But the Red Cross is still doing great work. They have general donation funds and American disaster relief funds, and they have been helping with the floods here in Texas, and the floods that are affecting the nation because it's starting to flood everywhere. I had some friends in New Jersey that they were going to be like they were doing like a debut stream for their new model because they're a VTuber and all that, and they had to cancel it. They had to cancel uh, a good chunk of it or postpone it because they're like, yeah, governor just declared a state of emergency and I can't even go to school because the water is so high and I'm probably going to lose power. And then they did. As far as I know, they're okay. But yeah, that was like, okay, so it's flooding everywhere. Apparently, this has been like the year of the flood, worst flooding in possibly U.S. history, at least in terms of flood warnings that have been put out. Um, so yeah, donate to the American Red Cross, and that's not even including the horrible tornadoes that we've had this year and all the other natural disasters. And we haven't seen some hurricanes yet, but that's probably going to change. Um, which is Texas flooding, I believe, was caused by remnants of a storm that hit Mexico. And I don't know how devastating it was in Mexico, but I believe that was some remnants and just you know kind of the perfect storm. Those remnants hit a front, and then it just decided to rain for days and days and days and days. But the worst part was when it just dumped millions and millions of gallons of water in just a few hours. Um, but yeah, so donate to the American Red Cross if you can, if you have the means. You can go to their website. They make it pretty easy to donate. Donate clothes, donate canned goods, donate blood, donate anything that you can. People need it. People are out there hurting, and it does good to donate, and it makes you feel good. So if you need another reason, it does feel good to know that you're helping uh, someone get through a tough time. So donate to the American Red Cross and help us with these floods, and keep everyone in your prayers because they need them. I still don't think that they found everybody, which at this point they're probably gone. I doubt, unless they're just hiding out in the wilderness somewhere in Texas, those 100 plus missing people are probably all dead. So it was like what 130 dead, still over 100 missing. It's probably it's probably much worse than it actually than we know. We still haven't found those people, and many of them being children. It's a real bad, real bad time. But like I said, donate to the American Red Cross. Give what little you can. They will take anything. Um, they're always doing good work because that's what they do. They're the American Red Cross. That's just what they do. But yes, but yeah, that's enough for this update, and I can get to working on the actual sermon and episode. Reason that anyone listens to this. So we thank you for listening. Hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you all in the next one.